So, okay.
Sir.
Up to yesterday's class, we discussed about different aspects of Markantia. Different aspects of Markantia, like the Markantia systematic position, Markantia vegetative structure, and number of species available in Markantia, and the Markantia's anatomy. Hey, mute చేసుకో.
అన్ని ఎడా
Mute
అన్ని
చేసుకోండి. The species present in Markantia genera and anatomy of the Markantia thallus. Okay, and after anatomy, let us move to reproduction. Reproduction in Markantia. In Markantia, you can notice the presence of three types of reproductions. Three types of reproductions. And these three types of reproductions are vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. So here the vegetative reproduction is done by means of older parts. Actually, in the growth and development of the Markantia plant body, the older parts may get disintegrated or they may collapse, and the younger parts of the plants, which are provided with or which contains growing points at their tip where the apical notch is present, they develop into new plants or they continue their life and lead their life as new Markantia thallus. So, okay, as the process of decay reaches the point of dichotomy, that means the decaying of the older parts reaches up to the tip of the plant body, and up to tip, the plant body may gets decayed and the tips may develop into new Markantia plants. And at the same time, in some species of Markantia, adventitious branches on a ventral surface are arise. The ventral surface in some species of Markantia, it gives rise to the adventitious branches. And these adventitious branches, when they get separated from the mother plants, they develop into new plant or they lead their life as new plants. So regarding the asexual reproduction, here the asexual reproduction means is also done by means of gemma. Gemma or the special type of, or it may be, you may know that the gemma are also some vegetative structures. They are also vegetative structures, not asexual structures. They are also vegetative structures which are produced inside the cup-like structures which are present on the dorsal surface of the plant body. The Markantia thallus, it bears a cup-shaped structures on its dorsal surface, and these cup-like structures are called as gemma cups. They are called as gemma cups, which may measure 2 mm into 3 mm size. And they are the cupules. Cupules means cup-like structures. And where these cup-like structures are present, they are present on the midrib of the dorsal surface. And these margins are the margins of the gemma, lobed, spiny or entire. The margins are hyaline, that is colorless. That is the LS of what you are observing is the LS of the gemma cup. So in its morphology, the margins of the gemma cup are colorless, that is called hyaline, and they are lobed. and spiny, or they may be entire. The margin may be smooth, normal, or it may be dentated. It may be spinous. It may be spinous. And from the basal region of the Jamma cup, that means from the base here, from the basal region of the Jamma cup, many number of Jamma are arise, or you can say the discoid biconvex Jamma arise. Biconvex, discoid, stalked Jamma arise. And Jamma is has, each Jamma has a constriction. Each Jamma has a constriction in the center, and two notches possess a row of apical cells. So here you are observing the notch. These two notches on the both the sides, they bear the apical notches or apical cells. That means in future it develops into apices. And Gemma contains chloroplast. Some cells they contain chloroplast, and some other cells are peculiar. That means Gemma contains two types of cells. Some cells are chloroplast containing cells, and remaining cells and some other cells, special cells, are known to be rhizoidal cells. And here and there, you can observe the thick cells. Some are the thick rounded cells which are known to be mucilaginous cells. Right. Mucilaginous cells. And actually, these mucilage, along with the Gemma, here in the Gemma cup, along with these Gemma, you may notice the presence of some of the hairs, which are called mucilaginous hairs. And these mucilaginous hairs can withhold the water and helps in the dispersal of Gemma, dispersal or dissemination of the Gemma. And when this Gemma gets detached from the mother plant, when they get detached from the mother plant, they develop into a new Markantia plant. A new Markantia plant. See, and here the Markantia, we observed the vegetative reproduction. Now let us go for sexual reproduction. Actually, here I already told you the reproduction in case of the sexual reproduction or the reproduction in case of Markantia, it is divisible into two phases, that is gametophytic phase and sporophytic phase. Gametophytic phase and sporophytic phase. And the gametophytic phase in Bryophyta members, it is a dominating one. And whereas the sporophytic phase is recessive one. It is recessive one. See, the Markantia is heterothallic or dioecious. Heterothallic means two reproductive organs. As we are discussing about sexual reproduction, sexual reproduction means the fusion of male and female gametes. And these male and female gametes are produced inside male gametangium and female gametangium. And these gametangia, they are produced on separate thalli. In case of Markantia, male plants are separate and female plants are separate. So each plant is unisexual. So hence the Markantia is said to be heterothallic or dioecious plant. Heterothallic or dioecious plant. And the male thallus, the thallus which produces male gametes or male reproductive organs, it produces a stalk-like structure or male reproductive organ known to be antheridiophore, and female thallus produces archegoniophore. And these antheridiophore from male plant, archegonium-4 from female plant, they arises from the distal end of the thallus. Distal end of the, ante ఆ మార్కాన్షియా థాలస్ యొక్క కొన భాగంలో where the growing point is present, from that point the reproductive organs will be arise, and after the production of these, or after the formation of these, the reproductive organs, the development, the growth of the markantia thallus will be stopped. So let us see Antheridiophour. See, Antheridiophour is a long stalk-like structure which may measure 1 to 3 centimeters long, and it bears a umbrella-like structure at its top with 8 lobes. And these 8 lobes, they contain the antheridial sac. They contain the antheridial sac or antheridial chamber. In the cross section of, in the vertical section of the antheridiophore, it resembles or it shows the all the parts which are present in the normal markantia thallus, like epidermis, like the photosynthetic zone, like the storage zone, and the lower epidermis. Apart from this, they bears the air pores also. And these air pores, they alternate with antheridial chamber. Okay. And each antheridial chamber contains a single antheridium. See, this is the antheridium. Each antheridial chamber contains a, 1 minute I will show you. See, this is the vertical section of the antheridiophore. Vertical section of the antheridiophore, where it shows the photosynthetic zone and air pores, and air pores, they alternate with these antheridial chambers. The black rounded structures are known to be antheridial chambers, and the antheridial chamber, it bears, see, each antheridial chamber appears like this, and it bears a small opening at its tip, and that is called ostiole. The opening of the antheridial chamber is known to be ostiole. And the fertile cells, the cells present in the antheridium, these cells, the cells present in the antheridium are known to, they are known to be androgonial initials or androgonial cells. Androgonial initials or androgonial cells. These androgonial cells, they metamorphose in the course of their development. They metamorphose and they change in their structure and develop into antherozoids or androcytes See, from here, androcytes. And each androcyte is a biflagellate structure. Okay, that is and a matured antheridium, it bears androgonial initial cells inside, and it is covered by a sterile jacket layer. It is covered by a layer of cells which are sterile, and it bears a stalk at the base. And these sterile cells at the tip, see, at the tip, 2 to 4 cells, they are known to be lid cells. And after the androgonial cells, they metamorphose into androcytes, and each androcyte undergoes division, forming 2 antherozoids. And antherozoids has mainly 2 parts, that is, one is the flagellar region and one is the nuclear region. The basal region, it bears the haploid nuclei, and distal end it bears two flagellum. That means the Markantia male gamete known to be antherozoid. It is motile one. It bears two flagellae. And after the complete development of these male gametes are antherozoids, due to the pressure exerted by them, and at the same time by absorbing water, the uppermost cells present in the at the tip of the antheridium, which are known to be lid cells, they rupture open, and all the when the water enters into the antheridial chamber, these cells which are hygroscopic in nature, they absorb water and ruptures open at the tip. Due to the rupturing of the tip, all the androcytes or the antherozoids come out of ostiole like a smoke column and spread in the surface of the antheridial disc. Okay, so then just they are the Markantia plants, just they are flattened structures which remain on the which are immersed in the water droplets, and in these water droplets or on the surface of the antheridial disc, the antherozoids will swim. And meanwhile, let us see the archegoniophore. The archegoniophore forms from the tip of the female Markantia plant, and here also the archegoniophore, a long stalk-like structure which develops from the apical notch of the female Markantia plant, which bears a long stalk and a umbrella-like structure at its tip, which bears the female reproductive organs or archegonia. And actually, when compared with antheridiophore, archegoniophore bears a longer stalk than antheridiophore, which may measure up to from 2 to 5 centimeters, and a terminal disc with 8 lobes. And archegonia are borne on dorsal surface in acropetal succession. That means from the center to the margin. And internal structure is similar to the thallus, with upper epidermis having air pores and underlying air chambers. So this is, see here, you can observe here. Okay, the acropetal succession means the younger and smaller ones, they lie in the center, and the larger and matured archegonia, they present at the edge. And these archegonium in archegoniophore, they are covered by a sterile inverted the layer of cells, which is called as perichecium. This layer is known to be this is called, this is perichecium. This is the perichecium. And here, right, perichecium, and each archegonium, it bears a long neck. Each archegonium bears a long neck and a broad venter, the swollen broad venter. The long neck contains 4 to 6 vertical rows of cells, which are called the neck canal cells. They are known to be neck canal cells. And venter contains a venter canal cell and an egg cell. Venter contains a venter canal cell and an egg cell. Venter canal cell is single, egg cell is single, and neck canal cells may contain 4 to 6 vertical rows of cells. And at the tip, 2 to 4 cells, they act as cover cells or lid cells. And the total archegonium or female reproductive jet-shaped female reproductive organ, it is covered by a sterile layer of cells, which is known to be sterile jacket layer. And it also bears the stalk, and at the same time you notice one point, that the reproductive organs, that is antheridium and archegonium in bryophyta members, in all bryophyta members, they bear stalk or they are stalked. They are stalked. Whereas in case of pteridophyta members, they are sessile. Stalks are not present in case of pteridophyta members. Okay. See, here once again we are observing the archegonium. So the broad venter, it is the correct position of the archegonium, which is inward in position. The long part is known to be neck, and this is known to be venter. Venter contains an extra cell also, venter canal cell. Venter canal cell, and the large one is known to be egg cell. The venter canal cell and the neck canal cells are purely vegetative cells. They are purely vegetative cells, and the tip contains the cover cells or the lid cells. And these vegetative cells, and at the time of fertilization, the venter canal cells and the venter canal cell and the neck canal cells, they disintegrates, they dissolves. Due to their dissolution, a type of a sap is formed, a mucilaginous mass is formed, and this mass of mucilage, it oozes out from the tip of the archegonium, and which enters into the, or which gets mixed up with the water present on the surface of the archegonial disc. And for the fertilization, now due to the secretion of this sugary mucilaginous mass substance, the antherozoids or the male gametes, which are already swimming or present on the surface of the disc of antheridium or antheridiophore, now they, by attracting towards the sugary substance in the water, oozed out by secreted out from the archegonium, they are attracted towards this, and slowly they swim and reaches the neck of the archegonium. See here, for the swimming or anything else, for the fertilization, in case of bryophytes especially, water is must. Water is essential. Water is essential for the fertilization. So actually, archegonia are placed upright on archegonial disc, and venter canal cell and the neck canal cells, they are dissolved, and a passage is formed, and the lid cells will open. The cover cells or lid cells will open by means of a pressure, and now the antherozoid present on the surface of antheridial disc, they are splashed by raindrops onto the surface of the archegonial disc. They may be splashed off, or if this archegonial disc and all are okay, right. So due to the presence of water droplets, the enterozoid will be attracted towards the archegonium and swims according to the chemical attraction. And these movements are known to be chemotactic movements. Chemotactic movements. And the enterozoid enters archegonium and only one few many. So those so many enterozoids they enter into the are only one fuses with egg nucleus and leading to the formation of zygote. It unites with the egg and forms the zygote. One minute. Right. Your attendance is also being recorded. Many of the Telugu medium people are not appearing. Let me see. Okay. So after the formation of zygote, the zygote develops into the zygote undergoes. Zygote means the resulting structure which is formed after the fusion of male and female gametes inside the venter of the archegonium. As a result, a diploid structure is formed, and this diploid structure is called zygote. This is called as zygote, and this zygote, let me show this zygote slowly undergoes multiple divisions, forming a mass of tissue. And as it develops inside the archegonium, it at one or other stage, it ruptures open the archegonial walls, and which remain as remnants known to be calyptra. They are known to be calyptra. Okay, so the spore, now the developing structure is known to be sporophyte. The zygote is the zygote which is formed by the union of male and female gametes is the first cell of sporophyte. It develops and forms into a sporophyte, and this sporophyte, it gets attached to the gametophyte. And it shows three main regions. One is the basal region. This is called foot region. You are observing, this is foot region. And the multicellular region, this region is called seta, the stalk-like structure, seta. And the remaining region, the globose region, the tip is known to be capsule. Capsule is the main region where the spores are formed or spores are produced. Okay, apart from this, the outermost layer of the sporophyte is known to be, still it is attached to the thallus. The outermost layer is known to be peridium, and the archegonial remnant is known to be calyptra. The sporophyte, it contains the sporogenous tissue, a mass of cells. In turn, they undergo many divisions, forming spore mother cells. Each spore mother cell undergoes meiosis, that is called reduction division, forming note this one. Each spore mother cell, at the initial stages, the sporophyte consists of foot, seta, and capsule. Foot is immersed in the gametophyte. It receives the water and nourishment, and the seta acts as a channel in between the foot and the capsule. Capsule contains a mass of cells. Capsule contains a mass of cells. And during the development of sporophyte from zygotes, the ventral wall cells gives rise to 2 to 3 layered protective covering of the sporophyte called calyptra, known to be calyptra. The basal cell of the archegonium give rise to one celled thick collar-like outgrowth outside to the calyptra called perigonium or pseudoperianth. Perigonium or pseudoperianth. And towards the maturity of the sporophyte, the seta elongates and pushes the mature capsule out through the calyptra. Perigonium and perithecium. See, both the adjacent, the collar-like structures, they remain as it is, and the central seta, it develops or it elongates, pushing the capsule outside. The sporogenous tissue present inside the sporangium or the capsule, they undergo divisions, that is the reduction divisions, forming spores. And each spore mother cell gives rise to 4 spores, among which 2 are belongs to male strain and 2 are belongs to female strain. 2 are belongs to male strain and 2 are belongs to female strain. Okay, and each spore, apart from these spores, some of the sterile structures are observed in the long spiral structures are observed in the sporangium, and these are called elaters. These elaters helps in the rupturing of the sporangial wall and at the same time the dissemination of the spores. See, these are the spores with outer spore coat and inner spore coat and haploid, some protoplasm and haploid nucleus. 1 minute. Okay. So this is the picture of sporophytes. Photograph of, it is not a drawing, it is the photograph of sporophytes. So the outer sporangial wall, as it is, the cells are hygroscopic in nature. By imbibing water, it ruptures open and all these spores will be liberated out. And this is the life cycle of Markantia. See, the Markantia thallus, where it produces, see, this is the archegoniophore and this is the antheridiophore, and which produces the antherozoid will be like this. Okay, and this is the, see, and this is the archegonium where they unite, and as a result, from the female plant itself, the sporophyte develops on the plant only. So that's why sporophyte in bryophytes is said to be partial or complete parasite on gametophore or gametophytes. Is sporophyte, it develops on the gametophyte only, and this sporophyte produces the spores. And spores once again they form into, see, the spore germinates and once again it gives rise to Markantia thallus. Markantia thallus. Okay. Here, in case of Markantia, we already know that the reproductive stage, that is gametophytic phase, is a dominating one, and sporophytic phase is recessive one. It is a recessive one. And as the gametophytic phase means it is haploid phase. The haploid phase is dominating over the diploid phase. Hence, the life cycle is known to be haplodiplontic life cycle. Haplodiplontic life cycle. And at the same time, do you find any resemblance in between? ఎందుకంతా కూడా వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు? Do you find any resemblance in between the thallus of the or the body structure of the morphology of the sporophytes and gametophytes? అంటే దీని sporophytic plant అంటాం. The total plant of the sporophyte is this much only. దీనికి కానీ తర్వాత ఈ ప్లాంట్ కి కానీ ఏమైనా రిజెంబ్లెన్స్ ఉందా, పోలిక ఉందా ఏదైనా? The gametophytic thallus in any manner it resembles the sporophytes? No. Sporophyte it bears only foot, seta and capsule. There is no morphological similarity or the similarity in between the sporophyte and the gametophyte. Hence, these alternate on at the same time, we are observing here the gametophytic generation and the sporophytic generation, they come one after another. The gametophytic generation, then sporophytic generation, then next gametophytic generation. These are known to be alternation of generations. When among these alternation of generations, both the sporophytic plant and the gametophytic plant, if they do not resemble each other in their physical appearance, in their habit, such type of alternation of generations are known to be heteromorphic alternation of generations. So here the spores which are formed, the 4 spores which are formed from a single microspore spore mother cell, among which 2 forms the male, 2 forms the female plant, and when they fall on some suitable area, they develop into new Marchantia, male plants and female plants. Okay, this is about the life cycle of the Marchantia. Okay, in the next class let us go for the Funaria. Okay, Funaria is a moss plant. Let me show some of the of Funaria. One minute. I will show you just 1 minute. This is the Funaria plant. Funaria hygrometrica. And this Funaria plant, it is our next lesson, very important. And the systematic position of the Funaria is, it belongs to the kingdom Plantae, division Bryoma, class Bryopsida, and subclass Funariidae, and order Funarialis, family Funariaceae, genus Funaria. 2 marks ki systematic position adugutadu. 2 marks ki systematic position adugutadu. See, when you compare the morphology of or the thallus of Marchantia with that of the plant body of the Funaria, it is a lot of difference is observed. A small tiny plant like look or plant-like appearance is observed in the Funaria. Okay, let us observe afterwards in the next class. See the general characters of Funaria. The genus Funaria, approximately it contains nearly 210 species. 210 species, and nearly 18 species are reported from India. And as these plants, already we observed that, see, they grow in the masses only. They grow in groups. As they grow in groups, see here you are observing, as they grow in groups, they are known to be mass plants. They are known to be mass plants. And among which, though 210 species are there throughout the world, 18 species are reported from Indian lands, and among which Funaria hygrometrica is the most common species. Funaria hygrometrica is very common species. It is also called as cord moss. The Funaria hygrometrica or Funaria is also called as cord moss because the sporophyte which we observed in Markantia, it has very stunted growth. There the seta is not that much of long, whereas here, see, you can observe here, see, the seta is, the long stalk is known to be seta. The long stalk is known to be seta. A పొడవైనటువంటి stalk like structure is called seta. And this seta, after its maturity, after the complete development of this capsule, it tilts down, it twists, ఇలా తిరుగుతుంది. So due to its twisting, the Funaria is also called as cord moss. It is also called as cord moss. Cord moss. The name is derived from Latin word funis, meaning a rope. అంటే Funaria అనేటువంటి పేరు rope లాగా ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి దానికి ఆ పేరు. So it comes from the Latin word funis, meaning rope. This is the vegetative structure of the Funaria plant, and this plant is up to this is known to be gametophore. It is also called as gametophore. The gametophytic generation plant is known to be gametophore, and this is sporophyte. This is sporophyte. Okay, let us continue in the next class. Okay, thank you.